the craziest thing
Yeah.
is when Giovanni in the end, he
Oh, yeah.
What?
Are we doing spoilers then?
I mean, I think obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, well, spoiler warning. 3, 2, 1.
He dies.
So James Baldwin, he was a black and queer author born in 1924, and he published his book in 1956, which was a very daring thing to do at the time because his previous novels were more about the racial, like civil rights movements in the U.S., and he was gaining popularity because of that. And then the first publisher he went to with this book told him that he should burn it because of the homosexual concepts of the book.
This is a novel about two men, basically, two young men, and the first man, his name is David, and he comes to another country trying to find himself, I guess, and also, yeah, I think that kind of was the main reason for why he left US and left his dad there, and then he meets another guy in France, and the guy is also a bit very different from David, and he's very like open-minded and very playful and very like flirty kind of a person, I think, but then he has like a deeper like background in his life as well.
Of course, it's called Giovanni's Room, and a lot of the book happens inside the room of Giovanni. And I think it's very interesting that Baldwin describes the room as looking like it's a collection of all of Paris like rubbish and like dirt, because it's so like deviant kind of. And the book kind of reflects this sense of hiding in this room with their homosexuality, because inside it's like dirty and it's like shameful.
When David engages with Giovanni, the second guy, he kind of starts it as a very playful thing, or like not really taking this serious, and then suddenly it grows into an actual relationship, I guess, or like the feelings are getting stronger, and then it's really is a story about like, I guess, how hard it was to come out back in the days and like to be yourself. And also there's a lot about, I think, fragile masculinity, especially from David's side.
It's all scripts of masculinity, how you need to look like, how you need to hide. Of course, he has his fiancée named Hella, who is in Spain. And so it's kind of interesting, this metaphor throughout the book, where you have this secret room where all your secret dirty desires are happening. And then you have the outside world where you're like kind of performing to be someone else.
Yeah, it's just like a book about how love and hate have like a very thin line between each other, I think.
In a short 150 pages, because it's a short book, Baldwin kind of asks the questions: what happens to a life when honesty loses to fear?
Ooh,
Let's get into it. So we're gonna move on to the section Guess Who, where we're gonna guess from each other who we think the other's favorite character was and why. And then the other's gonna rebuttal or confirm on why or why
not,
and who their favorite character is.
Guess Who?
I must say, in this book, it was difficult for me to kind of guess for you who your favorite character is.
Really?
But also because it was hard for me to figure out who my favorite character is.
Yeah.
Because these characters are all very problematic. I almost want to say Hella, which is like the...
She's the easiest one of them, you know?
Yeah, she's the only normal one. Okay, for you, I think you might choose Hella. Yeah. Because she is not a lot in the book, but she's relatively normal. And her reasoning is all very logical. And I also think the moment that she figured out, like, David was like hooking up with the sailor in the bar, I think you were eating that up when you were reading that. And she was like, I'm leaving you and I'm not joining this lie.
Yeah.
So that's why I think, even though she was a very small part, that's your favorite character.
Yeah, I even wrote down, I was like, get it, girl. I said it I think in my when I was annotating, I said, get him, girl. Yeah, that's right. Or something. Yeah. So yeah, I think she was pretty cool. Okay, good one. Well, for you...
Wait, don't you want to tell first?
Is it true, actually?
Yeah.
I think so. Well, Hella for sure was like my favorite, one of the favorite characters. I also did like Giovanni as well, of course, but not all of his aspects. Like, I think that he was a bit more real compared to David, for example.
Yeah.
And he was a bit more straightforward and very like open. And it also, oh my god, I don't want to shit on David again. Like I'm about to start on it, but I don't know. It felt like he was more authentic a lot for me in the book, and I felt it easier to connect with him.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like there was some moments that I was thinking that he might be a bit too dramatic in a way.
He was his own downfall in the end.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I was like, he's my favorite character. But if there was other characters or like other main characters that were there, I don't think I would really choose him. But
Yeah.
that would be my second choice, like
Okay.
that. All right, for you, I think it's also gonna be Giovanni then, because I feel like, well, you could relate to him not because you're gay, but like, but I just think that you're also very like not very like romantic, I guess, in a way, or like very in touch with your feelings and very like listening to your heart a lot. And so I think
Yeah.
that's why you would relate to Giovanni, because you can understand maybe his struggles as well, and like how like David completely misunderstands him a lot of times.
Yeah.
So maybe that's also what you felt over in your life or something. I don't know.
That's really interesting because while reading it, I felt more relatable with David. I think. Even though like
Okay.
you haven't met me in like my years in the closet,
Yeah.
so that might be a surprise to you, because when I met you I was already openly like out of it. But like reading like David's side of like not knowing what to do with all those feelings and like what to choose and to come out or to not, to hide this part, that was basically my like entire teenhood. Like
Yeah. Okay.
it was that. But my favorite character is neither of them.
Who is it, Hella?
Oh, gasp. It's also not Hella.
Oh my god, the Jacques?
It's Jacques. Okay, but hear me out.
Okay, here you go.
It's not my favorite character in the sense of I think his actions or motivations were good. It's not my favorite character as in I think I relate to him a lot. It's not my favorite character as in I think he's a good inspiration for anyone, because I actually think he's not that great of a person. However, he was one of the most interesting characters for me, because he does fit this certain stereotype of gay people, especially in the like 1950s, 1960s, that earned a lot of money and then kind of had all these fake relationships like around them of people just being interested in him because he has a lot of status and a lot of money. You see this with David as well. Like he kind of gets like these little donations and gifts and whatever. And then Jacques kind of like expects certain things then. You also see this aspect with like, I don't know how to pronounce his name.
The other guy,
the bar owner who kind
yeah.
of pressures Giovanni to do something with him, and then in the end fires him because he doesn't do it. And then Giovanni kills the man, which is great. But Jacques is not that dramatic, but you kind of see this old man and his desperate attempt from probably early childhood to kind of fit in, to have people around him, to be accepted, to be loved, and never really achieving that. Because in that time, it was just super difficult. And I think this makes him a very interesting character to kind of see and to see his motivations. Because on the one hand, you want to like disapprove of him because of everything he does and everything he says. But on the other hand, it's like, could he help it though? He grew up in a world where he was kind of forced inside of this box and makes certain choices because he already has a label of like deviant and kind of like disgusting person. So when you like conform to this kind of status, then I don't know, you might also be quicker to actually be such a person because you're like, well, if people think I'm that, I'm probably that.
Yeah, exactly. That's easier to live like that, I guess. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really pay. Well, of course, he was always there, and I like taking notes. He was always getting in the notes, but I never really paid much attention to him as a character. But that's interesting take, I think. So, nice. Red flag, green flag. All right. In this section, we will state the like umbrella term or like a term or whatever, and then we both say if it was a green flag or red flag for us. So the first one will be the writing style. Aaron.
For me, it's a massive green flag.
Yeah, I agree with that. Why?
First of all, I'm a big fan of James Baldwin. He was a huge influence in the time he was like active. He was a great activist, especially during the civil rights movement. So he was a black vocalist, but also he was queer, which was in that time to be so open about two of those things, two of those minority things. It was crazy. And you can see that in his writing style back, I believe. A lot of it is very kind of formal and professional in a way, because if you're labeled as such a deviant, you have to kind of like be strong, because you're gonna have a lot of shit thrown in your face.
Yeah.
So a lot of the writing I felt like was very like to the point and strict, but on the other hand you see sometimes a lot of like poetic and a lot of flowy sentences, a lot of metaphors, which is more a bit of how do you say that, like a vulnerable part of his. And this contrast between who you're kind of expected to be and who you want to be like who you want to come across as, like strong and powerful. I think that is what makes James Baldwin an extraordinary writer.
Anyway.
Why is it a green flag for you?
That's, I think, but no. But I think, well, first of all, because I'm not a native English speaker, so I feel like it was pretty simple written for me, because some books sometimes like uses fucking grammar and like and all these difficult words that I don't know translation of, so I could at least comprehend the whole text here without needing to go to the dictionary or something like that. So that was great already. And well, for my personal development as a writer, I think it was really useful because, well, it was like a very nice flow, and just the way, the overall, the way it was written, I think it was really helpful also for me to see like, okay, this is how he does it, and this is how he writes. So so next umbrella term from you, Aaron.
Yes. Let's talk about plot.
Green flag.
For me, ooh, well, it's hard because I find it difficult to say red flag because it's so definitive and like and I like the book overall, but there are certain aspects that I didn't like.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be bold and I'm gonna say red flag.
Okay, well, I say green flag because first of all, the ending is some. I love tragic endings. I love like when characters die. That's my favorite. You know, where you're like, this. So that's so great. I love that shit. And like Giovanni ended up like that was very like realistic thing to happen, and it was like kind of leading to it. It's still of course really sad, and I felt very like he doesn't deserve this, you know, like, and there was so many ways that he could have survived, or like he could have made it if people were a bit more caring and like less indifferent to his situation. But well, it is what it is. And also the way I guess that David was searching for himself, and then he kind of found himself being there with Giovanni and being, I guess, gay or being like bi or whatever. But then he couldn't just accept it because of the societal pressure and his fragile masculinity. I hate David. No, okay. But yeah, so I think that's why it's a green flag for me.
Okay.
Now, elaborate on your red flag.
It's not a super hard red flag. I just wanted to turn things around.
Okay.
I really liked the first two parts.
Okay.
So talking about David's past experiences with guys and kind of like pushing that away and putting it like in a very deep dark corner in his brain. So having these flashbacks, the current stories with Jacques and the guy from the bar and Giovanni and David, and kind of exploring that. I thought that was really interesting, and the build-up was very good. However, the third part, the ending, of course, correct me if I'm wrong, but very early in the book you already know something bad's about to happen to Giovanni. So it's kind of leading up to that, and the first thing that you think about when like something bad happening in a book is like someone dies. So I feel like it was a bit predictable and a bit unsatisfactory, like to kind of okay, and then he died. Even though it's very realistic how everything went, and like he killed a guy, he's gay, he's an immigrant, of course he's gonna like but other than that, it's also just I feel like the writing style kind of felt
Like declining or
yeah,
something by the
declining
end.
or like
Yeah.
different from the first parts.
Yeah.
So it was a bit more difficult for me to get through it.
So the ending felt a bit rushed. The writing felt a bit rushed,
Yeah,
and
in the end, they did have a final meeting, David and Giovanni. But I feel like it could have been like a longer dialogue as well. It
or
could have
deeper dialogue.
it could have
Yeah.
been like for me like 12 pages.
Yeah.
On the other hand, this might be more realistic.
Yeah, I also don't like if I remember correctly, the way that the last pages were structured is that David basically said that like I will remember about this, but I will not kind of let it like be in my life or something, as in something like that, which I found like, okay, you fucking bitch, you know, like
Yeah.
I feel like this is not right because you've done it and now you're gonna be like pretend like whatever happened never happened or something. That's like weird.
But that's also the thing about David. You see this like almost primary like,
Yeah.
character in the
Yeah.
book, and he kind of lives his life making choices out of his own discomfort with his own like
Self.
exactly. And he hurts a lot of people by doing so. He hurts
Yeah.
Hella, he hurts Giovanni, he hurts Jacques. Like he basically hurts everyone around him, and all of them end up dead or traumatized or having like all kinds of problems, and he just kind of continues always not being able to accept himself, and by doing so hurting the people around him.
Yep. All right. Next statement will be the characters, like character development. So green flag, red flag.
Yeah.
What do you think?
For me, green flag.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, red flags. Okay.
For me, it's a green flag because they're very realistic, and this kind of unsatisfactory,
Factor. Yeah, I think that's the word.
yeah, it's
We're
a
not
word for
native
sure.
speakers, yeah.
If I'm using it correctly, I don't know. Completely lost it. For me, it's a green flag because even though the characters are deeply troubled and all kind of toxic in their own ways, I do think they're very realistic, especially for that time.
Yeah.
But still, in this time as well, it's all about like this internal world of your own desires and fantasies and this external world and like performing towards it and like kind of wanting to fit in but also wanting to break out of this but still hiding.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot of layers, and that's why I also really like the metaphor of like Giovanni's room is
Yeah.
like the internal world and then the external world is how everyone performs. Although I didn't really like Giovanni because I can't see myself in him a lot actually, because he's very open and very intense
Yeah.
and dramatic. That was sometimes a bit I
Too
don't
much,
know,
yeah.
too much for me. And David did feel, even though his choices were very toxic, he did feel more grounded. But overall, I liked the development
Yeah.
and kind of the lack of a satisfactory ending. I still went for the word. It's crazy. The risk I'm taking.
I said red flag, although I agree with you that the characters were like very realistic, so that's definitely a good thing about it. But for me, it was like more about the specifically the characters.
Yeah.
So like I'm an open hater of David, like proud hater of David, because like although I understand where he's coming from, and of course it was different times, and yeah, you couldn't be openly gay or you couldn't be that easily accept yourself, and now people also still can't accept themselves very often, so it's not that it didn't change that much.
Yeah.
But I still felt
And it's been 70 years
it's been 70 years, guys.
since the book came out. It's crazy.
But I still feel like he is okay, just because I'm a person like this, like hear me out, there's gonna be so much hate now. So he's like living with his dad, happy dad, rich dad, blah blah blah. Then he's like, I'm gonna go find myself, I'm going to France, like, you know, so he's going to France, doesn't take any responsibility, doesn't have a job, all he does just goes to write to his dad, ask him for the money or like ask other people for the money. That's all he does, going partying all the time, drinking, like nothing is happening with him, like as in trying to find himself in different ways or something like that. So that just felt to me like a very irresponsible human being. So that's what I really don't like about people when they're irresponsible and just like, you know, sugar daddy, take care of everything, so on.
Yeah.
And then also that that irresponsibility influences other characters, like what you said, like his choices make other characters suffer. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I found it like weird how everything ended and how he treated people around him. Oh my god, I have so many more takes. And he also is at fault for Giovanni's death, although
You think so?
of course Giovanni is like himself, like
He made his own choices.
he made his own choices, but I feel like David, even if he did like a slightest effort, he could prevent it by a lot, I think.
Yeah, but of course, the reason why Giovanni died is because he killed
The guy.
the bar owner.
Yeah. But
And
it was
that
all,
was technically not David's fault.
I know, but it all everything led to it because of how it ended up with David before that. He got
Yeah.
mad with this French owner, the bar owner. He got mad with him because before this, David like completely abandoned him and started ignoring him. So of course, knowing how dramatic Giovanni is and how like he's taking everything, like he's getting overwhelmed with his feelings so much that led up to this situation, you know? So
Yeah.
that's why I was like constantly looking back at it and I was like wow, this could have been done so differently, or this could be prevented if David just maybe even for once like put the balls in his hand, you know, and like had a proper conversation with Giovanni and said to him like, I don't know, like, man, like I'm lost, I don't know what I feel, like, you know, I'm definitely love you, but I can't be with you because of this and this and this, you know?
Yeah.
And last thing that I'm gonna say, that it really felt to me in the characters, although they were very deep characters and very like what's it called? Dynamic characters, yeah. It still felt to me like they were very black and white for me. So for me, really, this Giovanni was the victim and he was the good in the story, and then David was the evil in the story because people suffered because of him. So I don't know if this is like a good thing because they are pretty deep, but somehow it was easy for me to like take sides with characters.
Yeah.
So.
And you might would have liked brain fart to have a bit more contrast between them, whereas David's actions sometimes might be more acceptable and Giovanni's actions might sometimes be less acceptable, making it like harder to choose kind of who's right, who's wrong.
Exactly, yeah. So I mean, I guess it's pretty crazy that like Giovanni killed the person, so that's kind of like a like an evil person doing, you know. But then I still was like, the bartender guy was a fucking bitch, you know, like the bar owner. So like he deserved that. That's what was coming for him anyway.
Yeah, he definitely deserved it, but for Giovanni himself, it would have been better if he just
didn't kill him.
cut his balls off or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like did something maybe you know that he deserves, but didn't kill himself.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. So
moving on.
To
my favorite section.
Yeah.
We're going to. She said what?
She said what?
She said what? So in this section, we will kind of choose one quote from the book, and we choose it either based on a quote that encapsulates the essence of the book, so kind of like maybe summarizes the book, or just a quote that maybe touches us on like a deeper level. And
touches us.
At least something does. Okay.
Cancelled, so cancelled.
Anyway, do you want to start?
Sure. It's quote from David, by the way. I can have a life with her. I stood up. I was shaken. What kind of life can we have in this room? This filthy little room. What kind of life can two men have together anyway? All this love you talk about, isn't it just that you want to be made to feel strong? You want to go out and be the labor and bring home the money, and you want me to stay here and wash the dishes and cook the food and clean this miserable closet of a room and kiss you when you come in through that door and lie with you at night and be your little girl. That's what you want. That's what you mean, and that's all you mean when you say you love me. You say I want to kill you. What do you think you've been doing to me? Period. Okay.
Wow.
So, first of all, I picked this quote because, again, the room is mentioned. So, that's what you're already talking about, is like how them being gay was only possible happening in this one room. Secondly, it's all about David misunderstanding Giovanni's feelings. So, that's what we were seeing happening throughout the whole book, where Giovanni was trying, like this, like kind of like this, you know, and he couldn't reach him, basically. And what I was talking about, the David's fragile masculinity, is again here because he's basically completely misunderstands the dynamic between like people that are in love, you know, and then it's like it's really like this. You can see the society of those times that really see in like, oh, this is a woman's thing to do, like to do dishes, to take care of the household, and then he also portrays it, although they're in a gay relationship or like there are two men, and then he still puts it out on it as well. So that's what I found, like having the fragile masculinity, or like seeing how the society and his self-image like blend together. I don't know. I tried to say sound smart when I was saying this, but I don't know. I was just like,
No, I think that really captures the main essence of the book. Okay, so I also have a nice quote. Mine is very short, but it's accompanied by some other context.
Okay.
The quote I picked is: "To arrange, mon cher, la vie pratique is very simple. It only has to be done." It's very short.
Yeah.
But it is the simpleness of it is what I think is very interesting. It is said by Giovanni, and later on David argues that he's thinking way too simple. This is not how life works. Like, it's very nice and idealistic to say that the way to live a happy life is to just do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Giovanni is way too simple by saying this, and David, he's a realist. He knows how it actually works in the real world.
Yeah.
And by doing so, you see, he ends up with nothing more than just mess all around him.
Yeah.
On the other end, you can see Giovanni, who thinks very simple and doesn't think a lot about his choices. He ends up in emotions murdering a man and also getting killed for it.
Yeah.
So you kind of see this contrast on this page of these two troubled characters having their own perceptions on how to kind of deal with their feelings and emotions and their life as gay men in the 1950s. And you kind of see this argument between them, between Giovanni kind of wanting to educate David on, like, you just have to be open, you have to be gay, and then life's gonna be good. And David being very like, that's also not the answer, but also not knowing what to do. Both these things end up not having a satisfactory, using the word again, ending, which I think is really interesting. David also says about Giovanni on this page, "It was very important for him to feel this. It was because he knew, unwillingly, at the very bottom of his heart, that I helplessly, at the very bottom of mine, resisted him with all my strength."
Yeah.
So they kind of have this love affair, and both of them know that David is doing everything he can. He can't?
He can.
Everything
He can't? No.
What? Okay, he's doing everything in his power to kind of not have this affair with Giovanni.
Yeah.
They both know this, and Giovanni is trying to convince him that there's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
And David is trying to convince himself that there's a lot wrong with him.
Yeah.
And this contrast is why their love affair, I think, ends up being like a disaster as well.
Yeah.
Also, a reason why I really like the quote is because it's like half English, half French. And this happens a lot in the book.
You're so dramatic.
Yeah, but it's...
Yeah, it's cool.
I don't think I've read a book before that has like so much...
mixed with the languages.
Yeah.
Okay.
And most of the time, maybe because Dutch and French are pretty similar in nature, I think.
Are they?
Well,
I don't know.
It's different than Dutch and Chinese, or...
Okay, like that, yeah.
They're all, I think, stemming from like Germanic languages. I think French as well, maybe not. But a lot of it I understood, like at the first go. Some of it I had to search up. And I think that was pretty fun to do,
Actually, now that you mentioned it, I was like, I hate the French quotes because I don't understand. I have never had acquaintance with French, like, language. Like, I also don't, per se... Okay, no, I'm not gonna say this.
Yeah, you don't really like French.
I don't really like French, but so many French also don't like French, you know? So, that's why it was also, like, a bit difficult for me to comprehend the whole meaning of what was said, because I'm too lazy to go to Google and look up the translation.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I wished, maybe also that's more like for the editorial part, not like the writer part, but like for the editors who do these books, to like put a like translation in the bottom of the page. Like some books have that, so that would be really great.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
Disagree.
Yeah, but I think it's also like, with Giovanni, like, I really was touched by his story of like when he was back in Italy, and then when he had a wife, and then he had a kid who died, and that was like really touched me. So I think maybe his like vision of like just do what you want to do comes from him facing the loss the loss of someone this like important and close to him.
Yeah.
And his whole life basically crumbled from that moment on, and then now he was kind of like living and trying to find a way to enjoy his life, I guess. And then yeah, he meets this guy who is like pushing him completely, like all the time pushing him
Yeah.
away.
Which, now that you're talking about this, makes me think about this other quote that I note down. You're talking about him having this like forced life of
Yeah.
like pretending with this woman and his kid, and then he goes to Paris.
Yeah.
Baldwin writes, "For nothing is more unbearable once one has it than freedom."
Yeah.
And Giovanni suddenly has all the freedom in the world.
Yeah.
But you can see his life is very messy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of direction. He thinks that he can just do anything because he has this contrast of being like inside of a box, but he kind of moves to another box by doing like everything that he thinks God like restricted him before, you know.
Yeah, I guess it was very crazy thing to me to find out that he actually had a wife and a kid, and he was actually like, I guess, loving his life there, being like a typical, you know, family, like a straight man with a child, you know, and then suddenly here he's such an, well, I guess pretty openly gay, at least like the surrounding people such as Jacques and like the bar owner, they were...
He works in a gay-friendly bar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like that's suddenly like a very two different contrasting things. So that was like interesting to see that. And
Yeah.
I always get like surprised or interested by the fact like how we humans and our sexuality is so fluid in a way that it's like suddenly you have Giovanni having like a whole family and mourning his child and like being in love with this woman, and then the next thing you know he's like gay and he's in love with a man, you know. So that's really, that's the topic to discuss like in our next video. But I think it's also like crazy to see that, you know. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's super interesting because of course now it's 2025. This book was published in 1956.
Which makes it
69 years ago. 69 there. What was I gonna say? In the book, you can see a lot of these, like David, the protagonist. He has done multiple times things with guys.
Yeah.
He doesn't consider himself gay. He sees this life with Hella still ahead of him. He's gonna just do this because that's what he's meant to do.
Yeah.
You still, in like 69 years later, you still see sometimes men having like these experiences with like guys, which some would say might make them bisexual, but still in their head they're convinced they're not like attracted to men, even though they have like these experiences with men, because society has such a like heavy expectations of how men should be like. And a lot of the times it's also super black and white, whereas if you do something with a man, you're immediately gay, especially men. And for women, it's just, it might
Like
just be a
that.
phase, or they might be easily turned or whatever. To me, it's really interesting that after all these years, the things that Baldwin writes about are still similar to today's age.
Yeah, I think we always go in the circles, you know. People now really get...
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you even look at the things happening now in the world and politics, we were talking with you about, like, the other days, and how, like, oh, we were so, like, progressive, and we were so, like, gay rights, you know, abortion rights, so on, and then now a lot of countries, not even saying, like, the US, let's say, but also some countries in Europe are completely turning around on it, and, like, such as, for example, Poland, last time I checked, I think they banned the abortions. So that's like crazy to me that even like in European standards, suddenly there is a switch back or something.
Yeah, Budapest
Also, okay.
banned the Pride.
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy for such a European capital city. Which also, I think they still did it. And the mayor of Amsterdam went there to kind of participate in this protesting Pride. But yeah, it's definitely in a lot of ways declining again.
Yeah, it's circling. I feel like maybe in like 50 years or something we're gonna go back like to traditional well, partly, not like fully of course, but it was always like that. Like in the 50s, hey, you had like a lot of straight people, but you also had queer people that were just not as openly queer as it's not right now, but it can also go completely the other way around, you know?
Go back to Greek times.
Oh
they
my God.
literally all those emperors, they had like male boys as toys. Yeah.
Boy toys.
Boy toys, literally. So it is such a timeless thing, And still now, with all the information that we have, there's still so many men who have these fantasies or kind of these like feelings towards men that they cannot accept within
Yeah.
themselves because of all these societal pressures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There are, and I'm not saying I agree with this. There are a lot of people who say every person is bisexual in a way, but a lot of people not perform
No.
into it. But it's just, I think also what they're trying to say is not like, oh, everyone's gay.
Yeah.
I think it's more about, it's very human to kind of have these thoughts about what would it be like to kind of do that or
With another-
feel that
yeah.
or with like the same sex. And a lot of people end up not actually acting on it in their lifetimes. But to have these thoughts, it's very human. And not performing on it is also completely fine, of course.
Yeah, well, very good points. No, I mean, this is like the bigger message, I guess, like even the huger message behind the book as well. Could
Yeah.
be. Yeah, I think
so.
Okay, anyway, moving on to the
last
section, which is like our overall impression and the score horse.
The score horse.
Yeah.
But horses and hookers, not as the animal.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the next section, we give the book a rating 1 out of 5, and we explain why. It's pretty simple.
Right, Aaron, you pulled out your notebook. Do you have something written down? Because I don't.
I did pull out my notebook. I don't know why. I give the book. Wait, I actually scored it on Goodreads, like this app for books reviews. Find me on it. I'm called Aaron WH1A.
We'll put it in the description.
Yeah, we'll put our Goodreads links in the description. But I'm just now thinking, like, I don't remember what I gave, and I don't want to. Oh wow, I gave 5 stars.
Ooh.
Wait, but okay.
It's fine. Like, let's see, because I don't think it matters really much. Because it's like you give 5 stars right after you read it, but now you had more time to think about it and like really, you know.
I give Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin 4 out of 5 stars.
Okay, elaborate.
Yeah, I everything I said before already. I think the characters are very realistic. I have some problems with the last chapter, the writing style, blah, blah, blah. That took some points out of it. I think in the end, it's a very important for its time, still now, but especially for its time, book that was released. A very risky one for James Baldwin as well. And I think it opened the mind of a lot of readers at that time as well. It was very important. James Baldwin is famous for a lot of essays that kind of confronted American hypocrisy, because even though he lived in Paris, he always stayed very involved in American politics. And he was always kind of talking about this American hypocrisy, especially from white people towards black people. And what is very interesting to me is a lot of people were criticizing Baldwin back then because the characters in the book were white. And being known from earlier books where everything was about race and oppression in the US, people were like, why are you writing suddenly about white people right now? They thought it was kind of weird, being a black man himself.
Yeah.
And I actually think that this book could also be considered one of those essays talking about American hypocrisy, in a sense that I think he might have chosen white people on purpose because queerness had this sense of deviancy, dirtiness, and a lot of negative stereotypes about it. But by choosing white people as the main protagonists, he showed the American people this is not something that only happens in black communities.
Yeah.
The queerness, this love, it also happens within you. And your neighbor might secretly have these fantasies, or your son, or your brother, or whatever. So by making all of them white, I feel like this was kind of like showing in their face, like, here, this is not something that's limited to a certain group. This is something that's part of every group around the entire world. And I think this idea, and with that thought, like reading this book, I think the message was, I don't know, it was super important.
Wow.
which makes me give it like 4 out of 5 stars.
Wow, what that was really good because I saw actually when I was like thinking about the like some hot takes for this novel, and I saw people talking about like why is there a white character there? Like where's
Yeah.
the black character, you know? And I didn't think about it like at the time that I was reading the book, I really didn't give much thought to it because I was like, we can write whatever we want to like about, you know, it's not that crazy or something. But
Yeah.
now when you put it like this, that's pretty interesting to hear. Like I haven't thought about it myself, so it's like wow, Aaron, I was so impressed. You're so smart.
Oh, shut up. Also, I must say the reason why it got that many stars might also be influenced by the fact that I watched a lot of speeches by him. I think he's one of the greatest
Speechwriter,
public speakers.
Public speakers, yeah. Okay.
Public speakers of
Sorry.
not only his time but of this time as well,
Yeah.
especially for the civil rights movement. He's very famous for a debate against William F. Berkeley
Okay.
in 1965. It's on YouTube. It's very interesting. It's all about like Black lives during this time. And for me, while reading the book, I kind of read it in his voice, and I think he just has such an exquisite, like interesting voice that it made the book more enjoyable to read.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm gonna close off because I've yapped too much.
I will
please.
keep it short because I don't have that much of smart thoughts right now going through my head. It's pretty. It's down. It's 5 p.m. now. So, whoa.
Whoa.
All right. I also give the book, I would say like 4.5 stars. So yeah, I think that it was like perfectly written for me in terms of like the writing style, the language used, characters. Like I said, although it felt to me like I could really differentiate between black and white a lot within the characters, but still there was an attempt to make them, well, not an attempt, there was actually like a lot of effort put into making them complex as they are. It's just that to be like, you know, direct and frank, like I just couldn't connect with David's character very well, and I just didn't like him at all because I don't like people that don't take responsibility. Like I'm coming from a very strict household, so I just can't accept that, you know. So that was the only like thing why I think like and again the ending, like we talked about, could be a bit more maybe like dramatic, or like maybe more like wow, like really like the culmination, you know, like the climax is there, you know, and then I didn't really feel it. I think it's good the way it ended, that Giovanni died. I think he should have like either way ended up some kind of like a tragic fate he should have had. I just wish that David would have gave more thought to it, like also during his whole life, and not just like him continuing his life as a family man in the future or something like that. You know, he said like, oh yeah, I will have like babies, I will have the house, I will have the wife, you know, and my life will be okay. Like, well, the guy's dead. Like,
which again, I feel like we feel the same about this. However, that is the most realistic outcome. Yeah. That is often what happens with those type of people who like push it down, hurt people around them, keep this like secret double life.
Yeah, all we know it that might explode someday, you know, in his head, like this whole thing, because you can't, like, how can you put away a thought about someone who you loved so much and someone who like basically died partly because of you? Yeah. And then you're just gonna like ignore it completely, man. Yeah. Be for real. So yeah, very good read. We totally recommend, right? Yeah, definitely. I think so. Please let us know how you.
Also, other books by James Baldwin. Go Tell It to the Mountain is also a very famous one.
Okay. I haven't read that, so I will.
Yeah. Okay. It's a bit bigger, but it's a very interesting book as well.
And for our 1,000 followers and millions of followers, let us know what we should read next. And also let us know what you think about this book if you have ever read it. Like,
yeah, definitely.
And
if you disagree with anything we said,
please let us know. We are so curious.
Yeah, that's I like that more than people agreeing with me. Yeah. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
We have the discussion in the comment section. No, but you're wrong. This is I like that.
Okay. So yeah, like and subscribe. I know you hate me for this, but please don't cut it out.
I'll think about it.
Do I really look lesbian? I don't want to be looking lesbian.
It's good to look lesbian.
Okay, like I'm so cool. I'm a lesbian YouTuber. Please support me because I'm lesbian. Like,
just because of that.
Yeah.
And you're a Ukrainian refugee.
Exactly. I'm lesbian and Ukrainian. Hey, like my boyfriend's pictures here, like me kissing some guy. Like that was before I came out. Okay.
Oh my god, are you queer baiting?
Maybe.